Donald Trump literalmente está huyendo de su escándalo con Jeffrey Epstein. Y esa es la razón por la cual Mike Johnson, el presidente de la Cámara de Representantes, cerrará el Congreso. También es la razón por la cual Donald Trump se acaba de ir a Escocia a esconderse detrás de un club de golf, donde se niega rotundamente a responder cualquier pregunta de periodistas. Tanto es su miedo que le prohibió al Wall Street Journal subirse a su viaje. Donald Trump tiene tanto pánico en este momento que está intentando distraer a cualquiera, incluso mostrando clips de golf. Y todo esto, al contrario de lo que él pensaba, le ha salido totalmente contraproducente. Y justamente es por culpa del escándalo de Jeffrey Epstein que lo relaciona a Donald Trump. Pero antes de entrar en lo que Donald Trump publicó y por qué es tan perjudicial para este escándalo, quiero empezar con el análisis de Jen Psaki sobre quién le dio a Donald Trump una recepción que yo no llamaría cálida cuando llegó a este club de golf. Miren el clip, por favor.
We're going to start with Scotland, or we're going to go back to Scotland, I guess, where President Trump has flown to escape the Epstein story. And here's how he was greeted as he got off the plane today.
On your name appearing in the Epstein files ever?
No, I was never briefed. No.
All right, so he left the White House and was asked a question about Epstein. Then he tried to escape. He quite literally banned the Wall Street Journal from joining him on his trip to Scotland as retaliation for their big scoop last week about his alleged birthday letter to Epstein. And yet, immediately after getting off the plane today in Scotland, he was asked about Epstein. He clearly wants this trip to be his running away, across the pond, across the ocean, from the Epstein story. But it still followed him. This was Trump's view as his motorcade made its way to his golf course in Scotland today. One sign there reading, "Release the files, you lying jobby." I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but jobby, J-O-B-B-I-E, which I learned today is Scottish slang for poop. So there's that, in case that's useful for anyone out there this weekend. Now you know, jobby, poop. This man's sign reads, "This is not Pedophile Island. You are not welcome here." That's what it says. And then at his golf course itself, a sign reading "Twinned with Epstein Island" has been put beneath the golf course's actual sign. There it is. It looks like it's in similar type that took a lot of planning, and they attached it. It looks like it was meant to be there. Even the local elected officials were in on the trolling. Stephen Flynn, Aberdeen's entirely bald representative in the British Parliament, who you can see there in the photo, told the BBC that he would be busy washing his hair during Trump's visit. It's quite a troll. So while Trump is going to literally great lengths to try to get away from the Epstein story, it seems he's having a bit of trouble. And the same is true for his Republican friends in the House here back at home. On Wednesday, Republican Speaker Mike Johnson sent the House home early to avoid having to vote on releasing any Epstein-related files. It was all a dramatic affair. They all went home. But even at home, Republican House members are having trouble shaking the Epstein story. As NPR put it, questions about Epstein files follow lawmakers home. In a telephone town hall Wednesday, a caller asked Pennsylvania Republican Ryan McKenzie if he thinks Trump is in Epstein's client list. That was in a telephone town hall. In a different telephone town hall with Pennsylvania Republican Scott Perry, a caller accused Perry and Republicans of avoiding the Epstein discussion. I should note that both of these congressmen represent incredibly competitive swing districts. So, kind of interesting. We're only a couple days into the recess. But Republicans don't even have to hold public events to be feeling this kind of heat right now. Check out some of this local press coverage. U.S. Representative Michelle Fishback voted not to release the Epstein files. Conservative activists took notice. The move has angered some of the right-wing activist base that has dominated Republican politics in her district. They have warned that the Epstein issue could be the straw that breaks the camel's back for the base and called for the congresswoman to face a primary challenge.
Donald Trump pensó que podía huir después de cerrar el Congreso y que esto sería simplemente todo. Pero esto no va a ser así. Lo están protestando incluso en su propio club de golf. Y esta historia vuelve a poner a los archivos de Jeffrey Epstein en primer plano. No puede ni siquiera responder las preguntas que le hacen sobre Jeffrey Epstein, porque cuando lo hace el titular ya no dice lo anterior, sino que dice Donald Trump vuelve a mentir sobre Jeffrey Epstein. Así que actualmente Donald Trump está completamente atrapado. Y como es de esperar, simplemente está jugando golf. No importa en qué estado se encuentra Donald Trump, él simplemente siempre quiere jugar golf. No hace su trabajo como presidente de Estados Unidos. Y gracias a Dios que no, en parte, porque si lo hiciera se imaginan todo lo que sería capaz de hacer. Pero hace un par de días justamente dijo que lo hacía, por lo que estos dos videos fueron muy terribles para él. En uno, obtenido por alguien que lo vio en el campo del golf, se le ve haciendo un putt. Sorprendente que no hiciera trampa y lo levantara. Pero en el otro video, publicado por el mismo Donald Trump, muestra su llegada al club, donde solo unas pocas personas estaban allá afuera. Donald Trump publicó esto pensando que era una gran victoria, ignorando que muchos más lo protestaban con carteles de Jeffrey Epstein. Y todo empeora con su tweet de ayer: estoy en Escocia ahora, muchas reuniones planeadas. ¿Reuniones para qué? Tratos que no puede hacer, porque la única persona con la que yo siento que Donald Trump quiere realmente hacer un trato es con Ghislaine Maxwell. ¿Acaso este trato es parte de los 90 tratos en 90 días que Donald Trump prometió y que actualmente dice que no recuerda haber prometido? Un trato con Ghislaine Maxwell, recordándoles que es la mano derecha de quien en vida fue Jeffrey Epstein, para asegurarse de que ella, una repugnante criminal, salga impune como siempre lo hacen los ricos y famosos amigos de Donald Trump. Todo esto mientras los demás miramos como si no existiera nuestra opinión. Esto no podría ser más evidente. Donald Trump ya no puede llegar a un acuerdo para detener estos aranceles que están arruinando toda la economía estadounidense. Pero en vez de preocuparse por esto, ¿saben lo que está haciendo? Buscando las formas de hacer un indulto para Ghislaine Maxwell. O sea, buscando la forma de perdonar la cárcel para esta mujer. Si esto no resume la presidencia de Donald Trump, no sé qué más lo va a hacer. Porque sí, siempre es Donald Trump queriendo proteger al multimillonario y dejando de lado a todo su pueblo. Pero hablando del desarrollo de este impactante caso de Ghislaine Maxwell, George Conway aportó un contexto muy importante sobre todo lo que está pasando. Y porque esto es algo que jamás había visto en su carrera legal. Creo que todo esto es crucial y vamos a analizarlo. Miren el clip, por favor.
Maxwell's trying to get something for herself here. Let's be clear about that as well.
All right, Ellie Honig and Paula Reed, thanks so much. Joining us now to discuss conservative attorney George Conway. Thanks for being here, George. To state the obvious, again, the Justice Department, the Trump administration, could release thousands of Epstein files right now if they wanted to. They don't have to go to get a judge's permission for grand jury testimony, which probably wouldn't have anything in it anyway. There's thousands of pages. Now, we should understand a lot of it's hearsay, probably some of it's false. It doesn't necessarily mean that the people named are guilty, but they could do that.
Right, and they don't. And it's kind of odd. And it's also very odd that they're lying about whether or not they told Donald Trump about it, or that he's lying about that. I mean, can you imagine being the Attorney General or the Deputy Attorney General and not telling Trump he was in those files?
Of course they told him.
Of course they told him.
It's their job.
Well, it's their job because this is a Justice Department that's unique in history, because these are his personal criminal defense lawyers, Emil Bove and Todd Blanche. He put them in there precisely to protect himself. And it, as you pointed out, it's ridiculously unusual for the Deputy Attorney General to go out and interview a witness like this.
No, you'd send a line prosecutor.
Right.
Or somebody who knows the case.
Right.
Right?
Like the woman they fired.
Oh, right.
We forgot about that.
Maureen
Comey. Yeah.
Comey. So what do you think? And obviously it's pure speculation because we don't know. They're not releasing any transcript. They're not releasing any audio. There's nobody else in the room that I know of. What do you think Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell are saying?
Look, I mean, I don't know what the play is here. Just as you said, it's hard to understand what the play would be. If the play is to give her some kind of clemency, I mean, it's going to stink to high heaven. I mean, it's going to, she is a sex predator. She was found guilty of doing these things. She found guilty of she would take the passports away from these girls who they dragged to Epstein Island. She did all of this stuff. She's neck deep, and so the notion that they would give her clemency is just insane. But then what would she say?
Right.
What could she possibly say that would be believable? And and the Justice Department trashed on her credibility back when they prosecuted her. They said that she couldn't be trusted under oath.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And now we see some members of MAGA media. We saw, first of all, we've already seen some MAGA commentators like Dinesh D'Souza, Charlie Kirk, basically saying, "I'm moving on," as instructed. We see Epstein's name barely even mentioned on conservative channels like Fox or whatever. And now we see this Newsmax guy saying that she might even be a victim, this convicted sex predator against kids.
It really just goes to the complete lack of shame about people who want to defend Donald Trump no matter what. And this is something where I mean, the fire is coming, the call is coming from inside the House. This man, Donald Trump, has revealed himself not to want these files to see the light of day. Now, he's not a generous person. He's not a person who's empathetic and wants to help other people for the sake of helping other people. The only reason why he wants to do this is to help himself. He knows what's in those files, and he obviously has some concern about it. Whether or not it's anything serious or just something embarrassing, I don't know.
Yeah, and there's probably a bunch. I mean, again, it's a lot of hearsay. It's interviews. You do a big investigation.
Right.
I'm sure people say, "Oh, I heard this guy was there. I heard that guy was there." By the way, he was doing that today, Trump.
Yeah.
He was saying people should look into Bill Clinton. They should look into the former president of Harvard. They should look. I mean, he was doing that.
Yeah.
And then he said also that he was going to make a list. That he wasn't going to release the Epstein files, but he was going to make a list.
He'd do himself better if he just shut up about it. But
this morning he was asked about that Wall Street Journal story from a week ago about a letter that Mr. Trump, President Trump, allegedly contributed to Epstein's birthday book when he turned 50 in 2003. Again, we should note that lots of people contributed letters, including Bill Clinton. 2003 was before any of this stuff happened. The first raid on Epstein's house was 2005. To me, it wasn't necessarily that big a deal. We knew that Trump.
Well, the Sharpie drawing of a naked woman, I guess that's something. We haven't seen that from a president before.
Right. Well, we still haven't seen the Sharpie drawing. He denies that he did it also. But anyway, he was finally talked about it. Take a listen.
You maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier.
So, I mean, he's basically acknowledging there that possibly a letter did go to Epstein from his office, at least.
Absolutely, and he knows that he wrote letters to everybody. That's what he used to do. He used to flatter people with letters,
or criticize them, or attack
them. Right.
But he usually did it with a big Sharpie, right? I mean, it wasn't.
No es de sorpresa para nadie que esta sea la dirección que Donald Trump tomó para tratar de defenderse de las acusaciones de Jeffrey Epstein, o sea, del caso de Jeffrey Epstein. Pero yo creo que el plan más importante aquí, que hemos señalado antes, es que ellos quieren que Ghislaine Maxwell mienta bajo juramento. Todo esto para decir que Donald Trump nunca, pero nunca hizo nada, mientras saca a la luz a personas que sí hicieron cosas para no verse tan sospechosa. Estoy seguro que el gobierno pudo haber expuesto a muchas de las personas que Ghislaine Maxwell está a punto de exponer, pero simplemente sellaron este caso. Y bueno, acabo de cumplir mi misión de informarte como lo ves todos los días. Y como siempre lo digo, para mí lo más importante es saber tu opinión y me encantaría que la dejes en los comentarios. Está de más repetirlo, pero si te gusta el contenido de política estadounidense, te va a encantar suscribirte al canal, ya que subo videos absolutamente todos los días. Mi nombre es José Alvarado, soy economista y estoy comprometido a informarte diariamente. Nos vemos en el siguiente video. Adiós.